Hello guys, welcome to this video. So in this video, I will talk about how to use distance matrix API of Google Maps API. So actually calculate the distance between two locations and also show the different routes and directions in the Google Maps. It's a full project right here, and you can see the interface of the application. We have two fields out there. We can enter the from location and the to location, and we will also be having autocomplete right here. So let's suppose if I enter any location, I need to calculate the distance between Delhi and Bhopal. So I will just simply write the location. So as you can see, as I writing the locations, autocomplete suggestions are coming right here from Google Maps autocomplete API. So if I just enter these two locations, and if I want to get the directions, driving distance, so as I click the button, so what you will see that it will show you me the actual distance in the Google map, how basically we can travel from one location to another location. And there is a second button out there which will be actually calculating the distance. So as you click the distance, it will show you the distance between these two locations, which is 791 kilometer. So you can see you can move from this location, and as you zoom this, it will actually tell you the actual locations and the different routes that you need to travel to actually travel from this Delhi to Bhopal. So you will see this is very useful if you are traveling from one location to other location. You can use this Google Maps simple route, and it will actually, you can see if you zoom in right here, it will tell you the exact routes, how to travel this. You can zoom in right here more. This is really useful guys. If you can basically take a screenshot of it, and then if you are just traveling it, you can see in which location you need to move. So it's very useful. So in this way, we doing this in this video, we can calculating distance and the different routes. So for this we are using Google Distance Matrix API. So you can just change this location to any location. Now if you click get directions, so you will now see it will now be showing the directions from this location. Calculate distance, and now this distance becomes 1484 kilometer. So you can see that. So it basically shows you the full route and the directions. And the API is called as Distance Matrix API, guys. So if you go to Google Maps platform documentation, and it basically it's not a free API, guys. It does give you $200 free credits. After that, you need to upgrade to a paid plan. So you do need to wisely call these API calls. So if you're just testing out, you can have $200. I think 1,000 requests are free. After that, you need to go to the monthly plan, and you need to now create basically this Cloud Console account. I have already created that, and then you need to go to API services and enable this API called as Google Distance Matrix API. So just search for this API called as Distance Matrix, and this is the API that we are using to actually calculate the distance and get the directions. I have already enabled this API. And then you need to also create a API key. Simply go to create credentials and click on this button API key. So it will give you your API key. Simply copy that and store it at a location. I've already copy pasted this right here if you see that. So if you need the full source code of this project, the link is given in the description. You can directly purchase the full source code. The link is given in the description. So now let's get started by building this application. So I will simply delete all the source code and start from scratch. I will delete all this. So for basically styling this application, guys, we are actually using Tailwind CSS. I have already included the CDN for this. Simply include the CDN for Tailwind, and that's all that we need to do. So the very first thing we need to do after the title, we just need to include the CDN for the Google Maps API. So HTTPS maps.googleapis.com/map/api/js, and then we need to paste the API key. So this API key you just need to copy from Google Cloud Console. So I've already created this API key. Simply I will copy this. So I will delete this API key, guys, so just don't copy my API key. And then we will simply say we will also be including the places API as well. So just need to include this, and libraries is equal to places. So we are also using Google Places API to actually fetch the information about the places. So after you do this, we will now be writing our body. So we will attach this onload event. So whenever your body is loaded, we will be actually be executing this function initialize map. So with this function, we will be executing code to actually display the Google map in the browser. So we will basically be attaching this tailwind class bggray100, and then this will be a container class mxauto. These are all tailwind classes. So inside this we will have flex justify center, just to basically center everything MB4. So input type text. So here we will be giving an ID to it of from, and we will give it a placeholder. So here the user will be allowed to enter their from location. So simply I will say from. So we will be giving a class to it, tailwind class. So w width will be 64, padding y from 2 px4, and it should be rounded large. Shadow will be medium, and it will be focus outline none, focus ring, focus border glue 300, margin from the right 4. These are just all tailwind classes, guys, so which is very simple. If I save this project, and so you will basically see this from is added right here. Similarly, we will be adding the next location. Same styling will be there, so I will copy this, paste it. So we will change the ID. This will be 2, and here the ID will change from to 2. So there will be two input fields added, the from and the to, if you see. Now we just need a simple div section where we will be actually be displaying the map. So flex justify center. Inside this we will have a button. This will have a class of bgblue 500. So when we hover onto this button, the background color will change bgblue 700 shade, and the color of the button will be white, text white. Font of the button will be font bold, py2 px4. Button will be rounded, and focus outline none, and focus shadow outline margin from right. So all the we have given all the same styling that we have given to the input field, and we will simply say get directions. So we have this button right here, if you see. So same thing, we will be giving the second button, which will be useful for calculating the distance. So I will copy this. So This is called as calculate distance. So get directions, calculate distance. So these two buttons are there. So after this, we will actually be giving a div, an ID of map, and we also be giving a class to it of margin top 8. This is empty 8, margin from the top position 8, and we'll also be giving a style to it of height will be 600 pixel. This is overall the UI of the application. If you see, this is from and this is to. I think I made a mistake right here. Let me copy this. Refresh. Now you can see this is the correct interface. You can directly purchase, the link is given in the description. So now what we will do, we now need to actually basically write this function init map. So whenever your body is loaded, this function will automatically execute. So what I will do is that I will simply include our JavaScript file right here in a separate script.js. So just we have our script.js file. So here you will actually write the JavaScript code which is required. So first of all, we will declare some variables, map, directions service, directions renderer. These are all variables which will be used in this application. So I will just declaring it at the very top. From input, to input, to actually get the from location and the to location. So these are all the variables. And now we will be declaring the init map function which will get executed automatically. So we are basically first of all be showing the map. So for showing the map, you can use google.maps.map. Here we need to simply set the reference. So we are given this reference in the HTML, the map element, we have given an ID to it. We are targeting it by this function. And the second parameter it takes is the actual zoom level, which is, I will set it to 8, and center. We will center out the location by providing latitude, which is 37.727749, and the longitude, which will be -122.4194. So after you do this, if you save this application, your map will be rendered out. So it is saying that Google is not defined. Google.maps. Let me copy this. I think I made a mistake right here. Simply copy here. Okay. I think this we need to go. We need to paste this code right at the very top whenever our body is not loaded. So just right here. The ordering is very important. Simply paste it. If this is not loading, guys, what we can do, we can also do this like this. We can attach this callback function right here. Callback is equal to init map, and then we can say async differ. So just we can simply add the rate callback we can write, and then followed by the function name, and then we can write async differ to actually load this asynchronously, and then we can remove this on load. This simply means the same thing. I think I'm making some typo mistake, that's why. Don't want to waste your time. So what I will do, save this code. I think our div ID, and let me paste this code here. I think I'm making some kind of mistake right here. So and just paste your API key. So API credentials, simply show key, copy. So you can see map is now showing here. You can zoom in. So now the map is showing. So what I will do, so we have written this code up till now. I will simply Up till now we have written this code, we have declared these variables, we have written up this code right here. So after this what we need to do, we need to declare these direction service. So this is equal to new Google Maps dot direction service. So we are actually invoking that distance matrix API. We are invoking this constructor. This is actually method here, and then direction renderer, which is a new Google Maps dot directions renderer. So after that, direction renderer dot set map, we are invoking this to the actual map that we created, initializing the service. And now we will take the locations the user has submitted from, and the to input. So whatever locations the user submitted, this will be there right here. And we will simply say we will attach this autocomplete API, because if you just see right here, if I try to enter some locations, it will not work. Autocomplete is not working right here. So we need to attach the autocomplete first of all to this. So what we will do, autocomplete from. So we will attach this autocomplete API by using Google Maps dot places dot autocomplete from input, and then simply you will declare it for the to as well, which is same code, Google Maps dot places dot autocomplete, and we will pass this from, sorry, to input, and then we will write these two lines, autocomplete from, and we will bind this bind to bounds, and then followed by the map, and same code, autocomplete to bind to. So if you just try to reload the application now, you will be able to see the autocomplete working. Google Maps direction service is not a constructor, and let me see. Direction service, directions, sorry, this needs to be capital, just make sure. Direction service, and this also, directions renderer. Just change this. If you type, now you will see autocomplete is looking right here. All the autocomplete is right. This also work. So now as I select some locations right here, so what we need to do right here, we will be binding an event handler each of these event. Just right here, we will basically bind a event handler to these buttons right here. So whenever we click this first button, which is calculate route, so these buttons will be right here. We need to attach a on click to these two buttons. So on click, so whenever we click the first button, we will execute a function called as calculate route. The second will be, if you click this button, we will basically execute a function calculate distance. So these two functions we have attached. So now we just need to define these two functions. So first we will define this calculate route. So inside this very first function, what we will do, we will basically make a simple request to the Google distance matrix API. So three things we need to pass right here, which is the origin, which is the from input dot value. Second is the destination, which is the to input dot value. Just put a comma, this is an object here. The third property is the travel mode. There are various travel modes out there. Bicycle, if you're traveling it using walking, driving, bicycling, transit. So I will be selecting the driving distance that I want to calculate, and then we will simply say direction service dot route, and here we will pass this request to actually get the routes between the destination and the origin, and this will have our result and the status. So we are actually using the route method of the distance matrix API to actually, and based upon that status, if the status is equal to OK, in that case we will simply say that directions renderer dot set directions result. And if the status is not OK, in that case we will simply alert the user that directions failed. So if you just save this and try to enter a location, I want to travel from Auckland to Wellington, so I will simply click on get directions. As you see guys, basically it will show to you. This is Wellington, if you see. It will show you the correct route, whichever route that you want to take if you're traveling it through car driving distance. You can see that. So you can do it for any location. So if you want to have Tokyo, and then so as you can see, the message will come if the directions are not valid. So you will see that. This is Melbourne, this is Sydney. So in this way, guys, you can do this. Now the second button is calculate distance. So if I enter, basically you need to define this function, which is calculate distance, the second button. This button will basically be using the again this same API, Google Maps dot distance matrix service will execute the constructor right here. So we are using distance matrix service API, guys. So inside this service dot get distance matrix, and this actually takes an object which first is the origin, which is the from input dot value, and then the destinations. This will be to input dot value, and then again it takes the travel mode. So I will simply say I am traveling through car, so I will set driving, and then unit system, fourth property it takes, and this I want to take the distance, calculate the distance in Google Maps dot unit system, and I want to have the in metric, so it will calculate in kilometer. So we'll say avoid highways. This property is also there. I will set it to false. I don't want to avoid the highways. And avoid tolls, this is also a property, so I will set it to again false, and then it will now execute basically this callback. It will contain our response in the status. Arrow function is this, and so you can see that, guys, it takes, we are calling get distance matrix, we are providing origin, destination, travel mode, unit system, avoid highways, avoid tools. These five properties, six properties, we are providing it to calculate the distance. And now it will say if status is not okay, in that case you can simply say to the user that location is not correct, and in the else block, if the status is okay, in that case we will calculate the distance at kilometer. So what I will say, response dot rows 0, elements 0, distance dot text, and then the info window. We will just show the distance in the info window so that the user can clearly see what is the distance. So new Google Maps dot info window. In this way we can construct an info window in the Google Map, and the content right here. What is the content that you want to show in the distance window? So this is a distance it will return. So distance, that's all. And after, we just need to open this info window automatically. So what I will say, info window dot set position, map dot get center, info window open. That's all. So now it will calculate the distance. It will show the distance in the info window. If I just refresh the application, now if I basically write the location, let's suppose Texas, and then I will need to Las Vegas, click on that. So if you see, this is basically the distance it calculated, sorry, the directions. This is a source location. You can zoom in right here, check the routes directions, it will drive in distance. If I click this calculate distance, and now it will show you the distance, which is 1722 kilometer, and it is using the distance matrix API to calculate the driving distance between these two locations and just showing it in the info window. So this is the overall project in the browser using vanilla JavaScript, guys. We are using distance matrix API, places API, autocomplete API, and also Google Embed API. So this is a complete project. If you are interested, you can purchase the full source code. The link is given in the description. Please hit that like button, subscribe the channel, and I will be seeing you in the next video.